Fox 61 News at 6 starts now.
Now at 6, from rain to snow, varying weather conditions across the state today. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank will let us know if it'll last into the night.
Plus, failures for victims of domestic violence in the justice system. We're taking a closer look at what lawmakers are considering when it comes to protecting victims and how a recent killing is driving new debates at the Capitol.
We like to think Billy is smiling and happy to know that his family has not given up searching for him, and that during our search, we have managed to make the country a safer place for all Americans.
Praise for Billy's Law tonight. Families hoping it will repair what they call a shattered system. The new reaction we're hearing tonight.
Plus, a new grant will take down an eyesore in the Naugatuck Valley. We'll meet the man who used clues about fish in the Naugatuck River to get more attention on the Kinneytown Dam.
And good evening, and thanks for joining us for the news at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. We begin with a look at the forecast. Lots of precipitation across the state over the past 24 hours. It was quite the mixed bag. So some of us saw snow, some of us saw rain, winds. The Northwest Hills got the winter mix, but when's it all going to end?
Yeah, Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with what we can expect. Rach, maybe into the overnight hours we'll get a little bit more snow, but we're coming out of this, right?
Yeah, not too much longer to go, but some additional rain and snow out there before this all comes to an end. Here's a look at some of those snowfall totals in the Northwest Hills. Granby, or West Granby, kind of the highest one, but not as much snow as expected. Temperatures were just a degree or two warmer than anticipated, with snow coming down and kind of failing to accumulate in those jackpot foot and a half inch totals over the border into the Berkshires. So luckily we dodged a bullet with this one for sure. Showers in eastern Connecticut. You're seeing just rain right now for West Hartford, Avon, Farmington, but some snow right now by the Notch in Granby, some snow in Sharon and Cornwall, and some rain showers from Newtown all the way through Naugatuck. And you'll see this is kind of filling back in here on the back edge of the storm before it comes out. And there could be a little additional accumulation again for those higher elevations. So for the areas that already have some minor accumulation, might be able to get an inch or two more, and maybe an additional coating, or I shouldn't say additional coating because northeastern Connecticut doesn't have a coating yet, but maybe a little bit on the grass for northeastern areas. Temperatures right now are above freezing. It's a little bit closer though in the Northwest Hills. And as we head through the evening tonight, we'll see temperatures falling back through the 30s. Not everybody will drop below freezing, but still watch for a few slippery spots. It was really rainy today, and especially for bridges and highway overpasses or areas that are untreated, that can be cooler or more slippery than other locations. Otherwise, we're looking at highs climbing around 40 degrees tomorrow. We are dry heading into both days this weekend, so we just have to get through about 2 o'clock in the morning or so, and then the storm is done. We'll talk about what we're keeping our eye on for next week coming up.
All right, Rachel, thank you. And you can tell from looking at Rachel's maps there, the Northwest Hills got hit the hardest with snow.
Yeah, Fox 61's Lindsay Kane is in Norfolk on how they're starting to clean up now.
We're in Norfolk, where the wind is starting to pick up and the snow continues to come down. I'd say so far there's about 2 inches on the ground, but still we're on track to see even more of that. And as you can see behind me, plow drivers are busy trying to clear off these roads as quickly as they can, but it's really just messy out there right now. You're seeing a lot of slush, and it's very, very slick and very, very slippery. So even kind of just moving your feet a little bit, you can slip very easily. So if you are even just walking out, or of course driving, you definitely want to take it slow either way if you leave the house today. We spoke to some employees heading downtown here for work this morning. They said their commute was double dark and early. Take a listen.
I see you made it to work. Okay,
yeah,
that's good.
It was a really early commute. It took about 40 minutes to get here. But you know, it's our own little snow globe here. You know, it's our own little winter wonderland in this corner. So it's beautiful out there. Definitely causes for a slippery ride, but yeah.
And again, she makes a good point. The roads are extremely slick out here again, so if you are heading out, definitely take it easy. But you can see even just in the past minute or so, the snow's starting to pick up a little bit and the wind's starting to pick up as well. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I definitely can feel it. So we're continuing to monitor the latest conditions for you, of course, on air and online. In Norfolk, Lindsay Kane, Fox 61 News.
Lindsay, thank you. Probably a good way to look at it. They're living in their own little snow globe up there.
Yeah, they are.
It's poetic. Be sure to download the free Fox 61 weather app. It's a great resource to track the storms, including getting the exact forecast where you live. You can also get breaking news updates and traffic conditions right there on your phone.
As we know, the winter storms have just begun, and new tonight, there are growing calls for more funding for Connecticut's cold weather emergency response program. Local leaders were on hand in the capital city today. They want $5 million from the state to be dedicated to funding this program and say it's crucial in helping people in Connecticut this winter.
This challenge is not going away, and every winter there are countless families throughout our state who need that shelter, and those resources statewide can make a big difference.
The money would go toward the state's cold weather protocol, which is activated when temperatures become extremely cold, and it allows a network of shelters to open to keep people out of the cold.
A Milford police officer has been placed on administrative leave, and an investigation is underway to determine if the paperwork process for an arrest warrant puts domestic violence victims at risk.
Fox 61's Matt Caron looks into the possible reforms that could come from this potential miscarriage of justice. Matt.
Yeah, that's right. You know, every day we are learning more about the tragic killing of Julie Minogue of Milford. Did the system that was meant to protect her actually fail her? Well, it's too soon to tell exactly, but the spotlight is certainly squarely on both law enforcement and the judicial system. It took 3 weeks of back and forth paperwork for a court to finally order the arrest of Julie Minogue's ex-boyfriend, DeWin DeWitt, for violating her protective order. By the time it was issued, it was 3 days after Minogue was killed.
And maybe there do need to be set timetables, particularly in certain cases like this where the lethality risk is so great.
With a legislative session on the horizon, the General Assembly's Judiciary Committee plans to tackle this and other issues, including the possible expansion of the state's GPS monitoring program for domestic violence offenders, but also the hot-button issue of bail reform.
Bail bondsmen will compete with each other with the accused as far as how much actual cash they have to put down. So, and then they'll give them a loan for the other portion. That's just one aspect of bail reform that I think needs to be dealt with almost immediately.
While Democrat May Flexer told Fox 61 it's more of a communication gap issue, with different agencies not being easily able to access an offender's records to inform a proper bail amount.
When either our court system or law enforcement agencies are interacting with individuals who have a history of domestic violence, they need to know about that. And that needs to be thoroughly documented on all records. That isn't the case right now.
Domestic violence service organizations, for their role, tell Fox 61 that the crime of domestic abuse can't be viewed in a silo.
A lot of the domestic violence that happens and the people that cause harm also have warrants, also have crimes outside of their domestic violence.
So today, the Milford police chief did meet behind closed doors with members of the Milford legislative delegation to discuss these possible reforms. And one surprising thing to note when it comes to bail in Connecticut, did you know that it is actually written into the state constitution that every offender is entitled to bail? So no matter how heinous the crime, no one can be held without the right to bail. Changing that would mean changing the state constitution. In the studio, Matt Caron, Fox 61 News.
That would change a lot here in Connecticut. All right, thank you, Matt. Well, new tonight, a federal court upholds a student-athlete policy here in the state. That policy allows transgender students to play on the teams most consistent with their gender identity. The court finds discrimination against transgender students violates Title IX. Earlier this year, 3 cisgender track and field runners appealed the dismissal of their lawsuit to prevent transgender athletes from competitions. They said they were at a disadvantage when they competed against 2 transgender sprinters. Today's ruling found those claims were unfounded. A lawyer for the plaintiffs says they're considering whether to appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Well, thanks to a multi-million-dollar grant, a dam in Seymour is coming down. The community says the Kinneytown Dam causes nothing but problems. But as Fox 61's Julia LeBlanc shows us, this day has been decades in the making. She joins us now live to tell us what it all means for the valley. Julia?
Good evening to you. The Kinneytown Dam here in Seymour actually does not serve a purpose right now, and local leaders say it causes more issues than helping the area. Things like pollution, flooding, and even killing fish in the Naugatuck River. So after a 2-decade fight, local leaders say it is finally coming down. Long ago, the Naugatuck River was the prized gem of the valley. Then the Industrial Revolution happened.
At some point, we got to the point where there were no living things in the river anymore, and the river wasn't flowing like a river.
People put in dams to power factories, and after decades of cleaning the river and getting rid of the waste, many dams don't serve a purpose, like the Kinneytown Dam in Seymour.
Somebody had to do something.
For 2 decades, Kevin Zach has been documenting everything and anything about Kinneytown. He's noticed it not only causes flooding and pollution, but underwater, there are thousands of fish that can't get by, so they die.
We have a chance here to right a wrong.
Kevin's videos caught the eye of local, state, and federal leaders. The 19 communities in the Naugatuck Valley Council of Governments hopped on board with his initiative. Now, with millions of federal dollars, it's coming down. Soon, they hope the fish and the 40 miles of river can flow freely.
Tearing down this dam will open new opportunities for recreation and boating, public access to the river. It will help prevent flooding.
In one day, they hope the Naugatuck River can go back to what it once was or become even better.
But there'll be more. There'll be walking trails along the side. There'll be boating events, and we've already started some of that. But this keystone that we were waiting to do, waiting to remove, is what's going to unlock the entire potential of this system.
Now, a company called Hydroland actually owns this dam. We reached out to them over email. We even gave them a call and just got a dial tone. So obviously we have not heard back from them. But the people involved in this initiative say since we have this federal funding and since it's already pretty much gotten approval from the feds at this point, they do not believe that anything will get in the way of taking the dam down. We're live here in Seymour tonight. Julia LeBlanc, Fox 61 News.
All right, Julia, thank you. A Branford man is dead tonight after a crash in New Haven overnight. Police say 2 cars crashed at the intersection of Trumbull and Orange Streets just after midnight. 25-year-old Max Peters, a passenger in one of the cars, was pronounced dead on scene. Both drivers were taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and the cause of the crash is under investigation now. And police are investigating after a teen was shot in Hartford overnight. It happened shortly after 1 a.m. on Main Street. Police say the 18-year-old woman went to the hospital for treatment. They say her injuries are non-life-threatening, and she is listed right now as stable. There's no word on any suspects.
We're learning more about a deadly tractor-trailer crash in Torrington. Police say speeding appears to be a factor in that crash. 44-year-old Mohamedou Kita of Pennsylvania was killed. Police say he was driving a tractor-trailer on Hayden Hill Road when he veered off the road and then went through a metal guardrail and down a steep embankment onto Route 8. No other injuries were reported.